Hey, welcome back to another episode of Rubber Suit Reminisce. In this episode, we're going to be breaking away from some of the bigger franchises to talk about something that's a little bit more obscure. This time, we'll be talking about this guy.
Supaidaman!
Yes, if you're not aware, there was once upon a time a Japanese Spider-Man series. Produced by the masters of Toku and the people with a lifelong hold on my wallet, Toei, Supaidaman, as it's sometimes called, aired in 1978 with a total of 41 episodes, plus a movie. And by movie, I mean it's a regular episode of the show, only it's widescreen! The series came about as the result of a deal between Marvel and Toei that also gave us the Sentai series Battle Fever J and the TV anime movie Dracula, Sovereign of the Damned. Now, if you're gonna go into this show thinking it'll be like the Spider-Man you're familiar with, you are wrong as hell. This show is a little infamous for how much it differs from the regular stories of everyone's favorite wall crawler. I'll give a basic plot synopsis to show you exactly what I mean. The series follows motorcyclist Yamashiro Takuya, whose father is killed not 5 minutes into the first episode by the Iron Cross Army. After Takuya is attacked and gravely injured by the Iron Cross Army, he falls into a cave and encounters Garia, a man from the planet Spider. Noticing Takuya's wounds, Garia gives him the Spider Bracelet, which saves his life by injecting him with spider extract. Garia then explains that he had been battling the Iron Cross Army but now needs Takuya to carry on the fight, as Spider-Man. With his mission passed on, Garia dies. Then he transforms into a spider who communicates telepathically with Takuya before dying for real in the next episode. From these events, Takuya is not only granted the abilities of a spider, but also the Spider Machine GP-7, a flying car equipped with missiles and a machine gun, and the Marveler, a spaceship that transforms into the giant robot Leopardon. Side note, you have Leopardon to thank for the Super Sentai series gaining giant robots, and by extension, Megazords and Power Rangers. As I'm sure you could tell from that rundown, this can be a very strange show. My favorite example comes from the 7th episode, wherein a song called Spider-Man Boogie has started sweeping Japan. The Iron Cross Army kidnaps the band that performs it and then makes robot duplicates of them who play the song with an added frequency that causes Takuya physical pain. Eventually, we're treated to a wonderfully bonkers moment where Takuya uses the machine guns on the Spider Machine GP-7 to destroy the robots, which out of context looks like Spider-Man just murdered an innocent rock band. There are plenty of other entertaining and bizarre moments, but that one in particular stands out to me, and I would not dare spoil the insanity for the rest of you, should you actually choose to watch this show. But for every moment of goofy insanity, there are about as many moments that are extremely dark. A bit of a regular occurrence in this series is children becoming orphaned or at least losing a parent by the end of their episode. One of particular note is an episode where Spider-Man is tasked with rescuing an Interpol agent who is working undercover in the Iron Cross Army. His son believes that he just up and left because the guy wasn't able to say anything to his family about the mission. The kid is also about to board a plane to America to participate in an art exhibit. That episode ends with the boy's father dying and the kid still thinking that his father ran out on him. And that's not all as far as grim stuff goes in this show. There are no fewer than 2 episodes wherein women are turned into monsters by the Iron Cross Army and end up committing suicide by the end of their episodes. One by setting herself on fire and another by just jumping off of a building. It results in the series having a bit of an uneven tone where you're never really sure if it's going to be ridiculous or really grim. That said though, many of the individual episode plots are actually pretty solid. They tend to focus a lot on street-level problems, the kind of things that Spider-Man would actually solve. There's episodes about people in gambling debt, a woman trying to be a better police officer, and even various episodes about dogs. If there is one complaint I have to make, it's that a lot of the time the monster of the episode actually has very little to do with it. Most times it feels like they wrote an episode and then remembered right at the end that they needed to put a monster in there. And in some episodes they didn't even do that. I don't think it's ever something that affects the enjoyment of the show, but it's really weird for a Showa Toku series to not focus on the monsters. The last thing I want to mention is the suit acting. A lot of the time it tends to be very basic in Showa Toku, and while this still mostly applies here, they did add some flair to it by making Spider-Man act like a spider. He clings to walls and other surfaces a lot, moving very quickly and doing all the small movements that actual spiders do very often. It adds a little bit of extra personality to the suit acting, which is always something that I appreciate. Ultimately, Toei's take on Spider-Man is extremely strange, and not at all like the web-slinger we've come to know. But I think it's still an interesting part of Spider-Man's history, something that Marvel seems to agree with if them putting him in Spider-Verse a few years back is anything to go by. It's a series I'd certainly recommend checking out if you're a fan of Toku or Spider-Man, as it's still very enjoyable despite the uneven tone and basically non-existent monsters. That is about going to wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed, then I would appreciate it if you could give it a like, and if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, then you can subscribe and hit that bell notification, and hopefully YouTube will tell you when I've uploaded something new. But in the event that they don't, I always post when I make new uploads on Twitter, and my most recent video is always my pinned tweet. I also tweet my dumb thoughts on things that I'm watching or reading or playing, so if you care about that, that's linked in the description, as is my Patreon, which is more or less just a tip jar right now. And if you want to take a look at some of the other content that I've made, then on screen right now are 2 of my previous videos. On the left is the last Rubber Suit Reminisce, which was on Ultraman Nexus, and on the right you have the last overall video I did, which was a Tokusatsu 101 on fan subgroups. That's all for now, and I will see you guys next time.